Good Days, the latest riveting drama starring Mila Kunis and Glenn Close that just premiered in US theaters on April 30th, 2021 and select streaming services up here in Canada. It's based on the incredible true life story of a mother and a daughter where the daughter's battling heroin addiction and the mother is there fighting alongside her to get her sober. So let's get right into it. It's based on an article, How's Amanda? A Story of Truth, Lies, and an American Addiction by Ellie Saslow. So what we have here is we have Molly, portrayed by Mila Kunis, who's battling heroin addiction in California, and her mother, portrayed by Glenn Close, portraying Deb. And I have to say, I saw the trailer a few months ago, and I was a little concerned because the trailer was well done, but I was concerned that this would be another movie that Hollywood would take such a serious subject, such as heroin addiction, opiate addiction, with all the many overdose deaths we have across North America on a daily basis, and make it a Hollywood glamour film. The trailer didn't show that, so that was good. So I was worried that this movie was going to dive into that. So the premise of this movie is the character of Molly is 31 years old. She's been battling this addiction since she was hooked on opiates way back when she was 17 due to an accident. So essentially she was given oxy. And because of that, she led into heroin, other addiction. And that's generally how it goes with drug addiction. So she's been on drugs for quite a while. She has 2 kids she no longer has custody of. And the mother, portrayed by Glenn Close, is just beaten down, essentially. She's been through this so many times where she's gone to rehab and it's failed and it's failed. So in this movie, she basically shows up at Deb's door yet again, but this time she's adamant she wants to get sober. And a doctor tells them that in order for you to be sober, you have to be off drugs for at least 7-8 days, and they'll give her an injection, which is called an opiate blocker, which is given monthly, which will combat the highs of drugs. So this is her first real chance to get off heroin. She's already been sober for a number of days, so the doctor says you need 4 good days. And that's what this movie dives into. Those 4 days and how she battles this addiction. I saw the movie last night, and I want to say it was excellent. Highly recommend this movie. It was so well done. I think all of us can speak for the fact that most of us know somebody in our lives that battles substance abuse, drug addiction. And we've seen their battles. We've seen their ups and their downs, their successes and their failures. And this movie dives right into that. And there's no Hollywood glamour here. This is realistic. So we'll get into the character of Molly, portrayed by Mila Kunis. There's no vanity here. She dresses down. She looks horrible, but that's the whole point of it. She's lost her teeth. It's just amazing, the portrayal here. I was lost in this character, which means I didn't think of her as that actress from That 70s Show. I thought of her as an actual drug addict. I mean, her portrayal here is gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. But there's also some triumph here. It's not a depressing movie, and I want to get into that. As much as you would think when you see a trailer, it's just another depressing movie. Let's just put it this way. I'm a huge Rocky fan. This is like the Rocky of drug addiction. This is somebody who is trying to strive and do better. And she's going to stumble and she's going to fall. And I'm going to tell you, it's a gut-wrenching portrayal by Mila Kunis. Now let's get into the actress, Deb, portrayed by Glenn Close. Oh my gosh. Within a couple minutes watching the movie, I forgot she was Glenn Close. I thought she was Deb. Like, truly a beaten down mother who's been through hell and back, literally hell and back, over the last couple decades dealing with this issue. And no nonsense, too. You can see she's been through it. She has to stand her ground. She has to be firm. But the minute that her daughter walks away from her after being firm, she breaks down. And it's gut-wrenching. And there's so many scenes in this movie where it's brought up, you're going to have a cardiac arrest, is what's said to Deb at one point. And you feel for that. Like, you can't imagine what that would be like. And I know parents that have gone through this as well. So it's not just the teenager or the daughter, whoever has the addiction. This impacts everybody. And you see it. And it's very riveting. It's realistic. There's no sugarcoating any of this stuff. And the stuff that she's done in her past to support her drug habits, That is exactly what happens in the drug world. And it's not pretty, it's not nice, and it's very dark. But again, through this movie, they're able to balance it. They're able to show the struggle and the fight to rise and beat this addiction. And that's what I really liked about this movie. I'm not going to give any spoilers away because I truly think you should go see this movie, watch it, come back and see my review. I'm not going to say what happens at the end or anything like that. I will just say I was blown away. It was a great, great movie. Let's get into some more of the supporting cast here because there's some other actors I should give a shout out to who did a fantastic job here too. Stephen Root. Okay, this guy's a versatile actor. First of all, he's been in the Office Space. He was a fellow with the stapler, the red stapler. He's been in many different shows playing various types of roles. In this role, he plays Deb's new husband, so essentially Molly's stepdad. And he's a great guy. He's got a heart of gold in this movie. And he's there to support his wife. But his wife, in all realism, is burnt out, tired, and she snaps back at him. And there's a point in the movie where he says, look, I'm not your punching bag anymore. And I got to say, that hit me hard. Like, I thought, yeah, there's this poor guy on the sideline supporting, trying to support this fight, and he's being kind of pushed down himself. Riveting performances here. There's lots of other side characters here and side actors that provide minor roles in this movie, but really it's a movie about Molly and Deb. That's what it's about. It's about the fight to get through these 4 days. And when you see her going through withdrawal, that's an accurate portrayal of what happens. It's very, very riveting. I'm not sure why this movie only has 50-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm kind of blown away by that. They say there's some cliches in the movie. I will say I tried to look for those cliches they're talking about. I found one minor one. And again, I'm hunting for something negative about this movie. It's not obvious to me. I'm hunting. And I did find one brief moment, I guess you could use as an example, where, and I'm going to throw a little bit of a spoiler out. Molly tends to sit in the garage of the house now that she's back with Mom for a few days, and the garage door is open so she can smoke. And a couple older speedwalker ladies in this nice neighborhood come walking by and they see Deb, portrayed by Glenn Close, and they're about to talk to her, and then they recognize that Molly's in there, and they quickly do a speed walk away. Yeah, that was a little silly, I guess. But I mean, it's just trying to show, basically, Deb thinks she's got friendly neighbors, but as soon as they realize her drug-addicted daughter's back, they're not so nice anymore. Other cliches, it shows a drug house, a flop house, and everything in that flop house is pretty accurate. So I don't know where the cliches are that these top reviewers are discussing. And I tried looking for something bad. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Mila Kunis. I'm really not. She's been in some good shows. She was funny in That 70s Show, but I'm not her number one fan. I am now. What she did in this movie was amazing. She pulled it off. And Glenn Close, holy smokes, like Glenn Close, again, there's no vanity here. She's an older lady, and she's beaten down. She's physically exhausted. There's one scene in the movie where she's so stressed out about her daughter, she can't sleep at all, and she's sitting in the kitchen. And I felt like, holy smokes, I would imagine if that was me, I'd be virtually physically, emotionally, and psychologically exhausted. Again, it's not a negative film as much as I'm discussing this addiction. It's a fight. It's like a Rocky fight. She's trying to get through the first 4 days so she can get this shot. And I'm not going to give anything away in this movie, but I got to tell you, by the end of the movie, and I teared up a couple times, I will admit, this is a pretty emotional movie. It was a triumph. I will say that. It was just a fantastic, gritty, realistic movie. Also, the banter between the two characters when they have their ups and downs, Molly and Deb, lots of curse words and stuff, but that's realistic. I mean, even Glenn Close is throwing the F word back at her. And it's not a sugar-coated movie, and we get to see a lot more of Deb's past, the mistakes she's made, too, as a mother. And some real tragic things that happened to Molly while she was on the streets as a drug addict. Again, it's a very riveting film. I couldn't stop watching it. It was just the minute it started to the minute it ended. And I got to say, the theme song at the end by Reba McEntire, fantastic, great song. The title song for the movie. It's also, I think, the song's in the trailer. If you see the trailer, I highly recommend this movie. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a fan of the Oscars because I'll tell you my spiel right now. every movie that usually wins an Oscar usually is boring, contrived, and lame. Just point blank. If anything, I'm more of a Much Music movie award because they truly go for the movies that made a difference with people, like people were into, action pictures, whatever. I will say that if these two aren't nominated for an Oscar, or this picture isn't nominated for an Oscar, it just proves my point. This was I gotta say, the most impactful film I think I've seen that's so realistic, down to earth, but also is so well done and well acted. This deserves to have an Oscar nod. If it's not nominated, again, just mark my words, when the Oscars come around, it shows you the failure of that system. They should just get rid of the Oscars, deep six it right away. Because majority of movies and films and actors and actresses that win in these, I've fallen asleep in movies. Like The English Patient, to this day, I can't watch that without falling asleep, but yet apparently it's the best picture. This movie should be the best picture, especially in the movie where there's the year where there's limited movies during the pandemic. This movie's fantastic. I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna give this movie out of 10 a 9 out of 10. That's right, a 9 out of 10. I highly recommend this movie. I think it's very important for teenagers to see this movie. That are maybe tinkering on the side of doing something silly or trying new things. They will see the gritty, realistic life of what heroin addiction can do to somebody. And I'll tell you, it's a riveting film. So anyways, tell me what you think when you've seen this movie. Come back and go to my comments, leave some comments, agree, disagree, subscribe to my channel, and like my channel. See you later.